Hi, this is Josh from Tri-County Hearth and Patio Magic Broom. I'm here to discuss the importance of preheating your flue. This is probably the #1 callback I get for customers who purchase a new wood insert is failure to preheat the flue. So right now, here's our showroom model. We've not lit it for several days. The temperature outside is about 30 degrees. Right now I'm going to touch my stove. My stove is very cold to the touch, especially down here in the lower parts and up high. And I'm going to reach in here and I can actually feel a breeze coming down into my stove. So right now I know I've got a big pressure problem inside my stove, but just so I can show you guys what it looks like when you don't preheat your flue, I put a piece of paper and some log. This is what I hear a lot is I threw my kindling and my tinder in there and I just let it off, and I didn't, and then I always ask the question, did you preheat your flue? And then I always get funny looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and light off this paper. Everyone seems to think these stoves are airtight. They are not airtight. You can already see smoke is coming out my door. Again, I have not preheated my flue. I have not established a draft. If I go ahead and I'm going to shut the door down. Right now it is actually going to use up all the oxygen in the stove here pretty rapidly. And then we're going to see smoke start coming out from all the places we don't think smoke should be coming out. Like from the door, from underneath the stove. You can see it right now, it's smoking up pretty good. And you can see it right now, it's already coming out from the bottom and through my air inlets. You can see smoke is coming out. And right now it's a very cold smoke. And you can see it's coming in just like a fog machine. And it is not going up my chimney. Again, these stoves are not airtight. And we're going to let this go for a minute so you can see that yes, smoke will come out areas. It'll start to come out from behind my panel here shortly. Now I'm going to go ahead and this will fill up your living room. This will fill up your house full of smoke. I've still got some paper. You can see I've got, now it's filling up around me. It let back off. My smoke's clearing up. You can see I've got smoke still rolling out around my door. It's still coming back. It's all down around here. I'm going to go ahead and close this back off again. Go ahead, I'm going to add more fuel to the fire because why not? Again, this is what happens when you do not preheat your flue. And I've got my door cracked just to get more air. But you can see it's still just pouring. I still have that massive column of cold air pushing down into the stove, and we are working to get our flue, reversed and get that draft reversed so it goes up the chimney. And right now the chimney's pointing down, and we need to get the air pointing up. So here it goes again. You can see even though we've been lighting some paper in there, it's just not adequate enough. And again, here it is, out the bottom of the stove. Whole stove's lit up. And now the whole showroom's starting to be smoked out. And you can even see right now around my door, I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but it's actually coming around that seal. That's a complaint we get a lot. Well, it's even leaking around the seal. But these seals aren't airtight. We're not working in like a hospital clean room or something like that. But I mean, just get an idea. Look how much smoke is just literally pouring out of the bottom of the stove. And all this is from one, one piece of paper. You got it? Can you see the smoke rolling in like a fog machine? Again, this is what happens when you do not preheat your flue. And I don't care whose stove it is, I don't care how it's installed, you will get this. These stoves are not airtight. The air inlet is now becoming an exhaust outlet. So I'm going to go ahead and light that off. Alright, we'll be right back and we'll show you how to preheat the flue here in just a minute. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to show just two different methods to preheat your flue. Now these are not the one and only way to do this. Now my stove it's been a few minutes since we smoked out our showroom. So one thing is, you'll always notice our technicians carry a blowtorch with them. Mainly for speed. I know a lot of people aren't comfortable with them. Understand you don't want a blowtorch in your house. We're this is something we do every day. This is just a little propane one. I have a MAP gas when I was in the truck, but it doesn't really matter. So this stove is catalytic equipped and it has a damper bypass. So I'm going to open up the bypass on this stove, and what you'll see, I don't know if you can zoom in here, but I'm going to try and get the heat right up into the bypass area, which is quite deep and near the back of the stove. What that does on a stove that's equipped with a bypass, it puts the heat directly into the flue, and that's what I'm hoping for, because I'm trying to get that flow reversal. I'm trying to put as much heat up to there. So one of the other things I have is this kind of paper torch. This is kind of old school. I've twisted it pretty tightly here, and with the idea of, and this is just nothing more than some brown paper we had from packaging material here in the shop. What I'm going to do here in a second is, I'll let this go for another second. I'm going to light this off. I'll go ahead and light this off. I got my little paper torch. Again, it's nothing special. And I wrapped it kind of tight because, again, I'm trying just to, I want it to burn kind of clean. I don't want it to burn super fast. I don't want it to be super smoky. So other things you can do if you've got your stove cleaned out, we have little fire starters, or hell, even a candle. A couple candles in there, tea candles or something like that. If you've got a real hard one, and you'll notice, I don't know if you can see in the camera, I've got it up kind of high in the firebox, and again to the back. And again, I'm just trying to put as clean heat up the chimney. Like I said, we really like those fire starters, and with those fire starters, we'll just literally let it throw one in, nothing else in the firebox, no wood, no nothing else, and just let it heat. And right now I've got nothing in the fire. I'm not trying to start the stove yet. Again, if you're trying to start the stove at this point, that's where we get the smoke into the house. It's very important you do this. Even my little paper torch is burning out on me a little bit. I'm going to get it going. But I can see right now that I can actually, the draft is almost started. I don't know if we're going to stop the camera here for a second, and then we're going to zoom in and you can actually see how the smoke is rolling around the tubes and going up the chimney. Alright, We've got it off the tripod here. You can see I got my little paper torch. Again, I wrapped it pretty tightly. It's nothing more than some brown paper. Nothing too fancy, but you can actually see I got it all the way pointed in the back. That's where my bypass, so it's going right up the flue. You know, we've got smoke going, but you can actually see the smoke now is, you know, going up the flue. And that's what we're looking like. We're getting a little too much smoke, so our draft isn't super good yet. Starting to roll out the stove, but we'll keep working on preheating the flue, and we'll go ahead and start the fire. Alright, so we're back. So we got our flue preheated, and what I'm going to do is I just cut up a bunch of cardboard because we always have that in excess here. I'm going to throw this into the stove just so you guys can see the difference in the draft now that we got it heated and what the fire will look like. Now it's still going to take a minute. I burned up all our paper. So it's just going to take a minute, but you'll see what a difference it makes. And you can already see the fire's, you know, tilting back away from the door. It's kind of arcing back because that's pulling up. Since our bypass is open, it's pulling up the chimney. So I just let my cardboard. And whenever you're starting your stove, it's best to keep your door cracked and not wide open. You can see it's creating more turbulence there, and it'll actually get a better draw. But I mean, you can already see, you know, the old burnt paper's rattling around, moving, and that's all from air. No, we'll just let that go for a minute. Then I can actually, I bet you it's warm enough, I could probably close it. So one of the reasons this is so important to get this draft started, because before, when everything was pushing down, you know, it was pushing our smoke into the room. Draft not only pulls combustion byproducts out, but now it also pulls our fresh air, you know, into our stove. And when, you know, you can't have fire without fresh air. So it's one of the reasons why it's so important to have a proper draft started before you go ahead and try and start the unit. And then obviously make sure your air shutter, I should have said that earlier, is wide open whenever you're preheating. So some of them are in, some are out, some are to the right, some are to the left. It's important you know, read your instructions and you know which way is which. But yeah, you can see before where I wasn't able to close the door, and now I can close the door, and you can see the cardboard's taking off. And we'll let that go for a minute, because like I said, all we're trying to do is preheat the flue. And we're still just burning the cardboard, but now you can see I've got a good fire going. We're starting to get our firebox started, nice and heated up. So in a minute we'll actually we'll start our fire here shortly. Normally you wouldn't do this much firewood or cardboard, but again, we always have plenty of cardboard around here. And this is probably a little excessive, but I really wanted a good draft started. We're recording? Okay, so my flue's hot. I can actually feel some heat coming off the stove now. What I've done is built a top-down fire, which is a little counterintuitive, what, you know, the TP method, and the leaning log stuff you've learned as kids. I've got a great big piece of wood down here at the bottom. There's a kind of a medium, and then I've got all my tinder split, and then I've got a whole little pile of kindling right here. And the point of this is just to get as much heat up the flue as we first start the fire. Well, this helps if I'm going the right direction. I put a little bit of gel alcohol on my tinder there just to get it going, so I can get it match lit. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and close my door down to about 2 inches. And right now we're smoke free. We'll let it go. And again, part of the point why we're doing this is again to help establish the draft, get heat flowing, you know, up into the chimney liner and establish that draft and get things flowing in the right direction. Okay, it's been about 5-6 minutes. You can already see my tinder is fully engulfed in flames. Pretty soon, another 5 minutes, I'll go ahead and close the door, and we'll continue on our normal burn. So now it's been about 10-11 minutes since I first lit the fire. And you can see we've got a pretty fully engulfed flame. So I'm just going to go over here. I can go ahead and shut my door. Again, no smoke. I'm starting to get some heat off the unit. My blower should come on in probably about another 20 minutes or so. Now, if you have a catalytic equipped unit, you should have some sort of temperature gauge. I took mine off for the video, but it'll tell you what temperature you can actually close this after your catalyst is preheated. Not every stove is equipped with these, so it's going to be a few more minutes, but you get the general idea. I still have my air shutter wide open. You can see if I cut it down. I'm not going to, it'll actually, you can see where the fire starts to die down already. But I'm still trying to heat up my flue, my firebox, so I'm going to keep it wide open for right now, and then enjoy your new wood stove. Thank you.